Welcome to Martini Time. Been a beautiful day here in Blackstone, the center of the world, but then you too are the center of the world. I told that to the doctors who came to visit today. Here's the story. So, you like this glass? I'm using a different one each day. I know one of them's the Holy Grail, but I have to use them to find out. How will I know if it's the Holy Grail? I don't know. I'll let you know. So, these first-year doctors notified me that they were taking a class in geriatrics, and they had to go out and find a geriatric to talk to as part of their class. So they asked if they could come see me. And I said, yeah, come on. But read the Joseph Campbell's Heart of Darkness or watch the Apocalypse Now before you come. And so anyway, they came today, and around 1:30, and two nice young men. They were first-year medical students at MCV, and I brought them in, and it was nice to have somebody interested in your story. I mean, what the heck, they came all this way to be interested in my story. So I gave them a story. So I introduced them to my uncle and my martini collection, and let me show you this. Maybe you haven't seen this, but it's my uncle's. I know he's a martini priest because he takes the Eucharist on the road, and here it is right here. So can you see right there? It's a violin case. And that's the Mass. Every priest has to take. Let me get this flipped back here. Don't panic. If you're going to be a priest without a church, you have to take the Mass on the road. Maybe pour a martini out of the back of your car, or you go to somebody's house and you offer the Eucharist there. That's what priests do. So anyway, I had a lot of fun with that, and I gave them 2 martini glasses, and then we talked, and I think they left at 3:30, and I told them to read the Heart of Darkness. So after they left, when they got ready to leave, I said, did you read the Heart of Darkness? And one of them said, I read it in high school, and the other one saw the Apocalypse Now. So I said, well, you have come to see a geriatrics, a senior, since I'm 81, I qualify, but they have to go upstream. You see, they had to go beyond the pale of normal geriatrics, because most people my age are turning backward, and they're looking at the manual, their annual, and getting their high school pictures in order, and talk about going to the doctor, and talk about the good old times or the bad times, and everything. Their eyes are turning backward. They're looking in the rearview mirror, you see. But I'm not doing that. I'm upstream of all that. So I'm beyond the pale, so to speak, of the. And so I told them my story. So why am I beyond the pale? Why am I? Why do I not mind what the world does to me? So I told them the story of my mother, who, when she lived to be 102, but when she was 100, we were riding, and she said, you know why I'm happy? And I said, why, Mom? And she said, I have no future. And then she laughed, and then big pause, and then, she said, why, Mom? When I was younger, I had a future, and I wasn't so happy. Now I don't have one, and I'm very happy. And she was. She lived to be 102. And there's 2 levels to that. One is when you get to be over 100, you don't have much future. So she kind of woke up just, wow, I'm here. But the other level of it is she really was an awakened being. She really was, I think when my father had a stroke and became dependent upon her, she came into her autonomy. She came into her authentic self, and And she was very independent, very and always welcoming, always interested and curious into what was going on, what was happening, you see. And you do that when you have no future. When you have a future, you're always thinking there's a better thing, either in the past or the future. When you're in time, there's a better moment. Things could be better. You eat something, well, it could be better. Well, you should have added this. You should have taken that out. It could be better. That's future. It could be better. But when you have no future, you're kind of like rock bottom. You're kind of like, I'm just here and this is it. This is it, you see. And when this is it, and it doesn't have any future, it doesn't have any reference outside of itself or meaning. You see, when you have a future, and of course if you have a future, you got a past. So when you got these two bookends, whatever happens, the meaning of it is reference to the future or the past. And you say, oh, well, it was better in the past. Or you say it could be better in the future. So everything that happens in the middle, which is now, is referenced and given meaning by these two bookends which don't exist. The past and the future don't exist, except in here, in the comparing mind. You ever think of that? So if you got no future, you got no past. It doesn't mean that you don't have a future and a past. It means that life is not referenced by it. The meaning of now is not determined by its future or past, what it was or what it could be. Then, of course, to live in the present moment, and just everything is just this. So, if you get sick, it's just this. If you're not sick, it's just this. If the dryer breaks down, which ours just did, it's just this. If the dryer gets fixed, it's just this. If the man is late, and yesterday, here's things. So I have a local guy who sold it to us, and they repair. So he says, yeah, I'll get somebody over there. So we got these boxes of wet laundry sitting there, and he doesn't come. And a friend of ours comes over. Well, they never come, and she was all pissed off because they never come. So it wasn't just this for her. It was comparing just this to an expectation, a grievance. Those repairmen, they never come. But it's just this. The thing just broke down. So I went over there today, and he said, I'm so busy. I said, okay, well, I appreciate your effort to get somebody over. So I took the stuff to the laundromat. It's just this. Then I came home, and some of them were still wet, dry, or a little damp, so I spread them out on the floor. It's just this. And so I'm having a martini here with you. It's just this. And the doctors came today, and it's just this. You see, so everything is just this. And when everything is just this, you're not referencing, it's not dependent upon time. And if it's just this, it's okay, because there's nothing else but just this. If the doctor calls you right now and says you got cancer, it's just this. And there's really of course it's not good that you get cancer. I don't mean that. And I don't mean you go get it fixed or whatever. Or, I'm just saying that everything is just this. So as soon as you say it should not be this, that makes me a victim. If it shouldn't be this, that means I'm a victim of just this. You see how that works? A victim is complaining because just this is not what it should be. So I'm a victim of just this, and there's nothing else but just this. The world cannot be different than just this. You think the cosmos can be different than it is? Everything is interrelated. You can't pull one thing out and make it different than it is without changing the whole cosmos. Everything is interrelated. Nothing can be pulled out and fixed without changing the whole cosmos. And of course you can't do that anyway. But the mind does. We abstract stuff. We imagine future, and we imagine how it should be, or how it was, and how we should get to how it should be, or how we could get back to what it was. But it just remains just this. Just this is the bottom. We're at the bottom of just this. There's nothing else. Just this. It's very hard to understand. It's very hard to accept just this. But if you can break through, and this is a breakthrough, it's a breakthrough the membrane of time. There's nothing wrong with time because, I got my timer going here for 20 minutes. It says there's 9 minutes left. My little discipline, you see. Nothing wrong with time. But I'm not bothered by time. So I'm not worried about time. And when you're not worried about time, you're not worried about just this. Everything happens in its own time. Everything happens in its own flow. And a lot of people live this way, and that's people that are never on time. The ones that have got the watch, you say, well, he's not on time. Other cultures don't look at time like us, you see. So we kind of like, this is my father's watch, you see. We kind of like look at life with this in our hand, you see. Everything, it doesn't go, you're 2 minutes late. You see, so this is the judge. Time, you see. How much time you got left here? Oh, that's too much time. So how much time do you need? You see? So you lost time, you gained time, you forgot time. You earned more time. You see, you lost time, you wasted time. You see, so this whole idea of time is that we think it's something. Think it like a ruler, like inches. How many inches do you have? You don't see an inch walking around by itself. It's always on something. You can't see time walking around on itself. It's always a measure of something. So time is a tool, a measurement. It doesn't exist any more than an inch exists. See? So here's how many inches is that? Well, it might be 2 inches. Right there, you see. But that's just a measurement of this. What is real is just this. The inch isn't real. The time isn't real. Time measures movement. Inches measures things. But that's the inches and the time are not things. So it's just a tool, you see. But we think it's real. It's important. Oh my God, I've got 5 more inches than he's got. That means I'm more valuable. Anyway, so the doctors came and we talked, and then we talked about stress in the medical field. And I gave them a guided meditation tape to help them with their stress. And we talked about how medicine is in a transitional stage right now. There's so much new technologies coming in, and the paradigms are shifting. And we talked about how the doctors are referencing the patient to the computer. I know if I go over to the Blackstone Family Practice Center for a physical, the doctor will spend most of his time looking at the computer and the lab reports. Maybe he checks me out a little bit with the stethoscope, but most of the time it's all what the lab says, what the computer says, you see. The old-time doctors spent their whole time with your body. Tapping your knees, thumping and checking and sticking your finger and grabbing and the body was their reference, you see. Now it's something the computer has intervened with the lab reports and the history and all that. So I don't know what they look at, But anyway, so the cross-referencing from all the different specialties and all the medicines and everything. So they're kind of like the computer, and the whole system intervenes between the doctor and the human and his patient, you see. And this is the problem with modern life. Something is always intervening between human relationships. You see, even the cell phone, even this thing here. Even this thing here is becoming an intervention in enabling the avoidance of relationships. So you're talking with somebody, and this thing interrupts. Oh, sorry, I got this, Or you really want to be doing this instead of talking to the other person. So you can't wait to get it out again and do your thing on here, you see. So this is becoming an intervention in the relationship. But then everything is an intervention in relationship because suffering is the avoidance of relationship. All right, Buddha said life is suffering. And suffering and life is also relationship. Life is a dynamic relationship with everything. There's no nouns. Nothing stands by itself like a soup can abstracted from the soup cans from Walmart. Nothing stands by itself outside of the cosmos. So everything's in relationship to context. Everything in this room is in relationship to the room. Nothing is abstracted except in my mind, or I can in a camera, or in a Photoshop. You know, there's a lot of ads now on this new Photoshop material now. So you got a picture of your girlfriend at the beach. Oh, you can just Photoshop all the people out, boop, 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 and just have your girlfriend there. Isn't that great, you see? You can abstract her, and you change the background. Change the background. You got your picture girlfriend, I put her at Naples. Put her anywhere. Photoshop those other people out. So we're kind of like living in a digital fantasy world where we can just manipulate reality. And that's much more fun than the mundane everything reality where you can't change anything. In other words, you're kind of like grounded in this thing here, you see. We're just kind of like stuck in this just this. Oh, how boring, just this. So look at the digital reality where I can Photoshop and make everybody beautiful and take the warts off and take the fat off, you see, and change the hair. And I'm a creator here. I can create reality just like I like it. No warts, no time, no future, no suffering. Everything is beautiful here. Just give me some Photoshop, digital camera, and in a selfie, you see. If you don't like where I am, put the background in. Let me go to California. Look, Mom, I'm in California. Look, Mom, no wrinkles. No, remember that big wart, Mom? It's gone now. So we're kind of like this whole digital creative world is intervening into just this, you see. Just this. We can't even sit in just. That's why nobody meditates. Nobody meditates because they can't sit in just this. Just this is purgatory. Just this is hell, you see. I got to get to someplace where there's some music and something going on, the TV, some action, some stimulation, you see. I can't just sit here and just there. I just can't go to the laundromat and stand there and look at the laundromat going. I got to watch TV. You see, so we can't stay in just this because we've got future and we've got suffering. You see. So the Buddha says life is suffering. Well, life is suffering when you avoid just this. You see. So when you avoid relationship, which is relationship with reality, as one, when you avoid it, you split it into two and try to change the reality so you don't have to sit in just this. So you don't have to be real. You don't have to be authentic. You see. You don't have to be upstream of time. So when the doctors came to visit me, they came to visit me upstream of time. Upstream of time, like Kurtz in the Apocalypse Now or the book Heart of Darkness. Kurtz was beyond the pale, a mystery. Who is he? Of course, in Apocalypse Now, they went up there and had to kill him. In the other one, they brought him back in the book, you see. But both of them, Kurtz was a mystery. He had discovered something. He'd gone somewhere beyond the pale. And they went up there to find out what he had found. And in both cases, he said, the horror, the horror, the horror. So it really takes, that's kind of, for me, that was like I got to find out what that means, you see. Anyway, so anyway, the doctors came to visit. My bell just rang. I had a good time with them, and they left smiling, and I hope I see them again. Thank you for dropping in.